Alright, a new player's guide to the Macedonian dynasty. So we're going to do a simple new player friendly build order to get you started with the Macedonians. This video is going to be how to do it. And in a second video, I will go into a bit more depth, explain why we're doing the things we're doing, as well as what to think about and things to focus on with this build and for Macedonia more generally. Now, a bit of a disclaimer going in, Macedonia is a little bit more complicated of a civ than some of the others I've covered, like English or French or Japan for new players. So just keep that in mind if you're picking them up. But it's mostly surface level. Once you get to know them, they're actually pretty easy to pick up. As always, there's a link to the written build order in the description if you would like it. But for now, let's jump into the game. First things first, bills on sheep. Make bills out of your TC and send your scout away. We're not going to talk about scouting, it's just getting sheep. And then the build order going up to feudal is really simple. We're just going to take our first two villages and put them onto gold, and then we rally back to food until we age up. So the first villager that comes out is going to make the Varangian war camp, which is going to act as our house, amongst other things, and then they're going to make the mining camp. The second villager that comes out helps make the mining camp, and then it'll time out that they both go onto the gold. So I'll just use this time quickly to speak about the plan with this build. So the goal is to be very aggressive in the feudal age, opening with the Hippodrome landmark and then going into Varangian guard spam. So the goal of this build for new players is to be viable on basically any land map and against most civs. I say most because it doesn't quite work the same way against night civs, but I will cover that in the second video, so that you can get started with Macedonia. Learn it as a civ and then play around from there. Keep in mind, like all of the builds or guides I've done, that this isn't optimal. We're prioritizing being basic and new player friendly, rather than being optimal from the very beginning. Allow you to get you settled, playing the game without just getting killed over and over again. And unlike most of the builds that I've done, this build is actually closest to optimal of them. And that's a testament to sort of some of the simplicity with Macedonian, which makes them quite nice to play. So just forwarding ahead until we age up, which is about now. We're going to take 4 of our food villages and we're going to make the Imperial Hippodrome. And then we're going to just leave 5 on food. So that means taking 2 villages to wood, and we're going to rally on wood. And we're going to rally on wood until 8. And then we go back to food. So there's not too much that goes on here until we age up. These 4 villages that are on the age up are all going to go back to food. These 2 on gold are going to stay there, and we're actually going to add to that gold a little bit later to make the Varangian guard. We're going to need a house. I make the house with the wood villas, but it's not a big deal. Once we're up, we're going to make horsemen and keep obviously never cutting villager production. It should time out quite nicely for you. And then the most important thing is we get the Varangian arsenal. So by our mining camps, so we get the silver coming in. The next thing we're going to want to make is our first Varangian stronghold, so that we can start producing Varangian guard. We start off just producing some horsemen, and of course our champions will come out passively, just 2 or 3, and we want to, if we can, harass with them, but it's not a big deal. They're just there to sort of give us some presence on the map, and then once we get the strongholds up, we're not going to make horsemen anymore. It is all Varangian guard. So now we've got 200 wood. We're going to make our Varangian stronghold. And from there, yeah, we're going to start pumping out Varangian guard. So it's really simple so far. We're going to make a mill here to get wheelbarrow. We just make houses as we go, of course. The one caveat here is for the sake of this guide, I'm putting him on berries. If possible, it's much more ideal to take 5 of your villages and go to deer, especially being aggressive and having map control. But just to, if new players aren't comfortable with that, I've used this build just to show it on berries. It's means you can't quite produce as many Varangian guards as quickly, but it still does the job. So I'm just showing a little bit of aggression here, and I'm showing also the extra torch attack damage that the scout gives, the champion scout. But you don't need to do this. It's just for show. So here we go. We're producing Varangian guard. We've got wheelbarrow coming in. We've also started to get melee defense. And make sure you don't spend silver on anything else other than the infantry armor, because we really need to get the +2 infantry armor. That's a big part of the build. You can see we've stopped making horsemen and we're just pumping Varangian Guard. After the 8 on wood, we went back to food. It's all on food now. And then as we get the wood coming in, we're going to want to add in more Varangian strongholds to make more Varangian guards. One thing I didn't actually quite catch there, and I'm doing it literally right now, okay, is once you get that second Varangian stronghold coming in, you're going to want to add more to gold. That's so you can produce enough of them. They do cost 40 gold each Varangian guard, so it does add up. Of course, adding houses as we go with the wood villages, but you can just kind of do it with whoever you like. And we're still rallying on food the whole time, so really simple there. It's just rallying on food and then adding to gold when we need to. And we're just trying to mass up our Varangians, and we're just putting enough guys on gold just to make sure that we can non-stop produce Varangians. This is actually slightly behind, which means I was a little bit slow sending those extra 3 villages to the gold. Now we're producing 2 at a time, and with 5 villages, that's enough to produce 2 at a time. We're still trying to get the wood up, and so we can get a 3rd one. I'm just going to speed up here because it gets nothing's different until this point. So now we're making a 3rd Varangian stronghold, so we can pump 3 Varangian guard at a time. That's probably sort of the benchmark for us here. Once we've got 3 up, we can also take some of these wood bills off and put them onto the gold. Do I do this? Put them onto the gold because we're going to want 7 to 8 on gold. I see I've already got that there. 7 to 8 on gold, and then we don't need as many on wood at this point, as we're not going to really worry about adding more production. It's more about just massing Varangian Guard, having these 3 producing as fast as we can, so that we can go attack. At this point, we're almost at 9 minutes, and we've got 10 Varangian Guard, which is pretty good. So at this point, realistically, you'd be looking to do damage and dive. The plan is to try to keep them in feudal and not let them age up to castle, especially if they are going for a fast castle, so that when our +2 defense comes in, there's just nothing they can do to kill our Varangian Guard. Again, with the small caveat, that doesn't quite work against Knight Civs, because Knights do very, very well against men-at-arms like Varangian Guard. In those situations, you need to make spears, and I'll explain that a little bit more in the second video. So here's just a little bit of that dive. These are only Dark Age Spearmen, it's just the AI. But it honestly still works the same way against Feudal Age Spearmen. The Varangian Guard will just destroy them, and they take little damage from the TC. This isn't really Garrison, so it's not a great representation, but the gist is there. And then, yeah, you can see I have taken them off wood. When your food runs out, you are going to need to go across to other sources. So deer and boar are the priorities, and you just want to keep making sure you're spamming Varangian Guard. And it's around this point, around the 10-minute mark, where the last thing really in this build happens, and that is our champion Radari will come out, which gives us extra speed to our infantry, and we'll get just tick into the 500 silver, which allows us to get the +2 extra melee infantry defense and health, which means these Varangian Guards go crazy. So that's pretty much it. We just want to, once we do that, it's just a matter of diving. So if we've kept them from getting castle, or they've got castle with damage, and then you're just going under and ransacking the guy, that's the entire build. Really, really straightforward, real simple, and really, really fun to play. So I'll call it there. There's no real point showing this further, although it does sort of highlight the extra fire or torch damage that the champion scout gives you. But that's the build. If you're looking for more explanation, and especially variants against Knight Civs and the like, check out the second video. It is already up, and there should be a link in the description as well as on screen at the end of the video. But that's it. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. If there's other civs you'd like to see, please let me know. Other content that I can make that'd be helpful, particularly for new players. I do appreciate it. But until then, have a good one, and I'll catch you another time. Cheers. Bye-bye.